Welcome back to Top 10 Central Dark. Top 10 Scary. Top 10 Spooky Scary. Guy who's not sure what the name is 100%. Here are the top 10 evil people who are hiding from the government. Yeah, look out. Yeah, remember that trending hashtag that we all jumped on Facebook where we're all like, Kony, we didn't even know what we're talking about? Well, this is what we're talking about. Joseph Kony is a Ugandan militant who founded the Lord's Resistance Army, the LRA. This is a Christian fundamentalist organization designed as a terror group by the United Nations peacekeepers, the European Union, and various other governments, so quite a big deal. Kony has long been one of Africa's most notorious warlords. He is currently one of the most wanted African militants as well. Kony was indicted in 2005 for war crimes and crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Court. But of course, he evaded capture, hence why we're talking about him on this list. By April 2017, Kony was still at large, but his force was reported to have shrunk to approximately 100 soldiers, down from an estimate number of 3,000, so it's getting a little bit lower. Both the United States and the Uganda ended the hunt for Kony and the LRA, believing that the LRA was no longer a significant security risk to Uganda. Do you agree? Sound off below. William Bradford Bishop Jr. is a former United States Foreign Service officer who has been a fugitive for allegedly killing his entire family. It's pretty brutal, I don't want to go into details. But on April 10th, 2014, the FBI placed him on the list of the 10 most wanted fugitives. That's, rightfully so. The whole family thing makes sense. On June 27th, 2018, Bishop, who would have been 81 years old, was removed from said list, making room, the FBI said, for a dangerous fugitive, However, he's still actively being pursued by the FBI. Since 1976, there have been numerous claimed sightings of Bishop in various European countries, including Italy, Belgium, England, Finland, Netherlands, Germany, Greece, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. Just a few to name. Matteo Messina Denaro is a Sicilian mafia boss. He got his nickname from the Italian comic book character of the same name, believe it or not, if it's ringing a bell. Kinda did for me. He's considered to be one of the new leaders of Cosa Nostra. He has been a fugitive on the most wanted list since 1993, since before I was even born. And according to Forbes magazine, he is among the 10 most wanted criminals in the world. With the deaths of Bernardo Provenzano in 2016 and Salvatore Riina in 2017, Denaro is seen as the unchallenged boss of all bosses within the Italian mafia. So yeah, just avoid all that smoke. How are you? Kim Jong-un, of course, let's talk about him. He's a North Korean politician who has been supreme leader of North Korea since 2011 and the leader of the Workers' Party of Korea since 2012. He's a bit powerful. Yeah, he's got a little bit of power. He, of course, is the son of Kim Jong-il, who is North Korea's second supreme leader from 1994 to 2011, and Ko Young-hui. Kim rules North Korea as a totalitarian dictatorship, and his leadership has followed the same cult of personality as his grandfather and father. So it's pretty rough, right to business. In 2014, a landmark United Nations Human Rights Council report suggested that Kim could be on trial for crimes against humanity. He's ordered the purge or execution of several North Korean officials. He's also widely believed to have ordered the 2017 assassination of his half-brother Kim Jong-nam in Malaysia. That's what I was talking about, his half-brother who got taken out. That's crazy. Kim also expanded North Korea's nuclear program, which led to heightened tensions, of course, with the United States and South Korea. So yeah, bit troublesome, I'd say. Efrain Rios Montt is best known outside Guatemala for being tried for heeding a military regime. This is back in 1982 to 1983. He was partially responsible for having defeated the guerrillas throughout the Guns and Beans campaign, maintaining the if you are with us, we'll feed you, if you are not, we'll you. Know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. The Civil War pitted Marxist rebels against the Guatemalan state, including the army, with huge numbers of civilians, both indigenous Maya and Mestizo Ladinos, caught in the crossfire. Up to 200,000 Guatemalans were killed and missing during the conflict, making it one of Latin America's most violent wars in modern history. Martin Shkreli is an American former hedge fund manager and convicted felon. You've probably heard this name before. He's not that great. This is a tough list. Shkreli is the co-founder of the hedge funds Elia Capital, MSMB Capital Management, and MSMB Healthcare, and the former CEO of startup software company Godel Systems, which he founded back in August 2016. In September 2015, Shkreli was widely criticized when he obtained the manufacturing license for the antiparasitic drug Daraprim and raised its price by 5,455%. Yeah, this man discovered a cure and then made everyone pay an incredible amount for it. Kind of evil. Very evil. The most evil, I'd say. In 2017, Shkreli was charged and convicted in federal court on 2 counts of security fraud and 1 count of conspiring to commit security fraud, unrelated to the Darapim controversy, believe it or not. He was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison and up to $7.4 million in fines. Shkreli was held at the low-security federal prison in Allenwood, Pennsylvania, with an expected release date in September 2022, but he has been released early. Peter Brabeck-letmathe is an Australian businessman. He was the chairman emeritus, former chairman and CEO of Nestle Group, and former chairman of Formula One, believe it or not. He appeared in the 2005 documentary We Feed the World, and while speaking on the subject of water, he said it's a question of whether we should privatize the normal water supply for the population. Yeah, this guy's taking water. That's great. And there are 2 different opinions on the matter. The one opinion, which I think is extreme, is represented by the NGOs, who go on about declaring water as a public right. That means that as a human being, you should have a right to water. That's an extreme solution. The other view says that water is a foodstuff like any other, and like any other food, it should have a market value. He added, personally, I believe it's better to give foodstuff a value so that we're all aware that it has a price, and then one should take specific measures for the part of the population that has no access to this water. One New York serial killer has been plying his grisly trade for over 20 years now, killing at least 10 victims between 1996 and 2010, and, well, possibly more than we haven't yet discovered. That's the truth of it. They were dubbed the Long Island serial killer or the Craigslist Ripper, both very horrible. The extent of these unsolved crimes is still unknown. It was only after authorities accidentally stumbled upon human remains while searching for missing worker Shannon Gilbert that they realized Gilgo Beach might be a dumping area for said serial killers. It's theorized that the killer possibly had a law enforcement background, judging by how he's managed to elude capture for so long. The mystery of the Lisk lives on. Jeff Davis. Between 2005 and 2009, the body of 8 women between the ages of 17 to 30 were all found in the swamps of Jefferson Davis Parish near Jennings, Louisiana. Interestingly enough, the victims had several things in common. Several of them knew each other, for starters. One pair of victims were even cousins. Perhaps more bizarre was that all the victims acted as police informants, several of whom actually reported on the other Jeff Davis victims before their own murders. The investigation into the murders of the Jeff Davis 8 never identified a legitimate suspect, but it led to wild allegations of misconduct amongst Louisiana police. An investigative reporter later stated that the person responsible for these killings were most likely part of law enforcement. That's pretty much the main thing we know here. Today, the case is known as a possible example of police corruption. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd have to agree. The vending machine killer. 45 college-age males across a 20-year span, all drowned after getting intoxicated. This is brutal. However, the kicker here is that these drownings happen in 11 different states. Despite the distance between them, some detectives think that the drownings are actually the work of one serial killer or even a group of serial killers. That's like scary or even scarier. Detectives claim that smiley faces have all been found near the sites where at least 12 of the men have drowned. That's the thing they have in common, a smiley face logo or symbol. It's believed that these men are all abducted, murdered, and then disposed of in bodies of water to give the impression of accidentally drowning. Lastly is the condition of the bodies. One victim had been missing for 40 days, but the deterioration of his corpse was nowhere near consistent with someone who had been in water for 6 weeks. The math just doesn't make sense, nor does the science. This was also the case for multiple other victims, as you can imagine. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. Those were the top 10 evil people who are hiding from the government, and there's probably 10 more. Tune in next time. Peace. Matteo Messina Denaro is a he's made of, he's a plastic guy. Sicilian mafia boss. Sicilian? Yes. Yeah, Sicilian. I'm like Sicilian. Cillian Murphy me up. I feel like his name is Cillian Murphy sometimes. Like a silly guy, but it's Cillian. Yeah, Cosa Nostra. Nostra? It's Nostra. Nostra didn't sound right. Fucking names. Bernardo Provenzano. I'm sorry, rest in peace. I just made fun of him. With the deaths, number 6. Nope. Yeah? 7. Number 7. 7. Yeah, it's 7. I can get set for this one. This guy's crazy. Oh shit. I'm like, I don't want to talk about him. I'm gonna fucking taken out like his brother did. Kim rules North Korea as a totalitarian. Sorry, I can't eat that. I'm actually a totalitarian. Thank you. I'll eat half of it, not all of it in total. It's too early to talk about totalitarians. Number 5. What the? Maybe his name pops up somewhere down below. Sorry, there's a bunch of symbols there because there's you know. Efrain Rios Montt. Efrain Rios Montt. Efrain Rios Montt. And mestizo Latinos. Latinos? I think it's Latinos, right? It's got to be Latinos. Because if I say Latinos and they're like, yo, it's a Ladino, I'm like, I'll say with some nose nasally, Latin America. It's probably Latinos. I'm like, it's probably Latinos. Latin America. I'm like, it's probably Latinos. Whatever, I'll say I'm nasally.